Podcast. Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. So, in today's podcast, Friday, because that will be Monday when I'm going to be posting this one. I talked about interviews. I talked about people who feel entitled that because you got a diploma, you should be hired, and they're getting frustrated. So I understand the point of frustration. However, when you get fresh out of school, don't expect to land a dream job. Most of the people will not. Some would, because they make sure of it when they're going to school to be able to have that already worked out. However, now let's talk about salary. And I talked in a past podcast about salary and how to negotiate your salary, because one of the biggest flaws is people are assuming, and it doesn't matter if you're fresh out of school or if you already have been in working for a company for years. One of the biggest things that I've seen, and I have done that as well in the past, is we're always afraid to talk about the salaries, always afraid to really deep in and dig in and see if we have the skill sets, being able to be realistic on our skill set. Because some individual will say, I'm worth $150,000 when in reality, they don't even worth $50,000. But if you're honest with your own self, if you know your skill set, even as a beginner, if somebody fresh out of school, not based on your diploma, but what will be the criteria and what is the minimum based on? Because a lot of people make the assumption, well, because I have a diploma, well, I'm worth $100,000 because I have $100,000 in debt with the school. That is not how it works. You have to look at the state. I'm not even looking at the city. I like to look at the state. What is the average in the state where I'm at for the skills and for the title I'm looking at? So this is number one. Two, when you talk about interview, the golden rules, you never spoke about money the first or the second time. When you engage with the HR, most of the time it's HR, or it depends on the company. It could be the hiring manager if it's a small company. But when you're dealing with companies that have HR, I don't negotiate with HR. Because HR doesn't do the negotiation. HR just apply what they've been told, actually. They have the bracket and they think, okay, we're going to decide for this. However, the person who has the last say is the hiring manager. He is the person, or she is the person who has the power to change that. So the first thing first, like I said in a previous podcast, I just go, no problem, sure, just to let the person in HR know, yeah, sure, no problem. Whatever you say, sorry, I don't care what you say, actually, because I'm going to be negotiating no matter what. That's how it rolls. But you're not going to tell them that because you want to be able to pass them. They are the filter before you can talk to the hiring manager. So when you're done talking with those guys, you just wait patiently and see if, based on the interview you got with them, they're going to pass on their feedback and give it to a hiring manager. My hiring manager say, oh, yeah, I want to talk to Emma, so let's talk to Emma. First thing first, you never talk about salary. You talk about the company, you talk about the core, the value, the vision. You ask the person actually what they like and what they don't like. What would they do better if they know, if they came here fresh, what to expect. What do they expect from me within the next 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months? What do you expect from me to know, to do? Those are the kind of things that when you start to talk to the hiring manager, they're going to be interested about you because you're not talking about the salary. You're not talking to them about promotion. You're not talking about this. You're talking about the job. You want to know more. How is your team? Ask them questions. You interview them. I know it sounds crazy. It's like, oh my God, no. Well, it comes with years of experience. So let me say this for anyone who's listening to this. Who gives a crap? Interview them because they interview you. But you need to interview them. Even if you're desperate to get a job, interview them as well to know if it's a good fit or not. If you know it's not a good fit, please don't take it. If you take it, remember, everything comes along not in a good way. So if you think about this, you start to engage, and then when you're done with it, you thank them very much, and it's still actually applying. Okay, because a lot of people don't do thank you letters. We used to write it down on a piece of paper, send it to them. Then we do emails. Do a simple thank you email letter. Let them know you really appreciate the time they had to meet with you and you're looking forward to continue the conversation. And that's it. Don't sound desperate and please, please, please hire me. No, you want to sound professional. Doesn't matter if you're desperate, sound professional. And then you let it like that because they will tell you, oh yes, I have to, I'm a busy schedule. I need to continue to interview other candidates. I will let you know at the end of the week or earlier following week where we are with that. Then they like who you are. They like the way you present yourself. Then you're confident, not cocky. Okay. Confidence is not being cocky and walking around with your nose up. Confidence is somebody who is not scared, somebody who's whole and centered. This is confidence. This is somebody who's interested. Okay. You can search online for questions. There is some you can find. They give you the 10 top question, blah, blah, blah. But ask them, how you run the system. Do you do waterfall? Do you do agile? So if you don't know what waterfall is, I'm giving you the order and you follow what I'm telling you to do to the teeth. Okay. I'm agile, meaning I'm more flexible so you can communicate with me and you can do, I give you leeway to do things. And if something doesn't go well, then I support you during that process, blah, blah, blah. So I'm adaptive to how you work. So those are the two types you're going to find. More company goes to agile, which is better actually than waterfall. But you still have companies who go waterfall, which is okay. This is how they run the show. So you need to be flexible and adaptable to understand that. Then you get an email from most likely HR letting you know, okay, we would like to invite you for round 2, where you're going to have specific individuals who have the skill set, meaning they are going to be the technical people. So you're going to meet people, one, they work with the person. If it's somebody who's leaving the company, is leaving the company, could be there to hire you, to sit with you and interview you, or it could be the co-workers as well, or the manager that actually supervise that person. So you could have 3 to 4 person at least into that interview, and that turns technical. Okay, so now you're going to be meeting with those guys. So the question is one, can you answer the technical part of it? Because at the end of the interview, what's going to happen in the back end with those guys, they're going to give them the pro and the cons. Pro, well, you did a good job. You knew what you were talking about. Cons, we're not sure because maybe it's on it to not sure about, the personality. Because one thing is, and that's something you need to realize as well, is your attitude and how you present yourself will be the key to get hired. Some people will say, I rather hire somebody where I can get along. Everybody is teachable and I can teach you how to do things, than somebody who has the skill set but is not open, or is too cocky, or too arrogant, or too narrow-minded, or fill out the blank. So what happened then, there should be a third interview. And the third interview will be again with the hiring manager, who's going to continue to ask more questions. And this is where then you sit down with that person and just said, okay, let's talk about salary. What is the salary? And you ask them, you ask the questions, because this is where you're going to know where you sit. So sometimes they're going to tell you, well, it is this and that's it. Well, that's it. Because if you're the right person and they really want you, then they will open the wallet. Now the question is what is your fair market value? What are you worth? I'm going to say, well, am I worth billions? Yeah, we all do. We're all worth billions. However, you need to put those numbers in perspective of that job. That's why before you start to interview for a job, you need to know your fair market value. And I go by state, not by cities, because some cities will pay more, some less. Depends where you live, what the meridian is. But if you get a good idea, let's say I am worth maybe today $65,000. Okay, they're gonna offer $55,000. Should I just go down and just say, sure, I take it, afraid that, oh, well, if I negotiate, blah, blah, blah? I'm like, no. Negotiation starts when you get your third interview. At this point, you should have the email of the manager. You should be able to get that email. So before they do this, I don't negotiate on the phone because I'm going to put it on paper. Why? Because that person's going to remember. You're going to give them the argument. Because sometimes they low balls everybody. Meaning, well, maybe we're looking for, hired to $55,000. Maybe, yeah, let's do 55. And you're like, well, I'm worth 65. So let's sit down and you need to observe. Because you need to observe and ask the right questions. Let's say there is situation where you're an analyst and you're going to be solving issues. You're going to bring forecasts. You're going to do this, and that. But during that interview with all of the technical people, you need to ask them those questions. So what are your biggest challenge? What do you need? Ask them like a pure detective. Do your homework. Like I said, you can go online and query and search a lot of things that will give you argument to ask. And when you ask those questions, write it down or record it or do something that will allow you to make sure you get all of those answers. It's not, oh, blah, blah, blah. No. You take notes. And when you take all of those notes and you do everything, then you can do a recap afterwards and figure it out what's wrong. What works and what doesn't work. When I went through that interview for that small company, I already knew when I walked in what was the problem, actually. I'm like, well, I can see this, because I have years of experience and I don't put myself in the equation. I look at the bigger picture, not what I got in front of me. So I was able to look at the bigger picture. I'm like, okay, this is what they need. And interviewing the person to see what are your pain points. It's not difficult to ask everybody, what are your pain points? Some people will be open to give you those pain points if they're on one-on-one. So you can reutilize those pain points, and see what can I bring to the table to solve that issue, to close the gap. That's the key. So in order to do what you got to do, you have to do your homework. Then when you get that third interview with the hiring manager, then you wait. Because you don't know if you got the job or not. So during that waiting period, that could be maybe a few days because there's other candidate they want to finish to talk to. Then this is where you create your email. This is where you start your negotiation. So people, it's difficult when you do salary because people are like, oh my God, I'm not in a phase like that, but I can do and negotiate my cousin's salary. So put yourself as the client. I am the person I'm going to represent for their salary. So you create an imaginary person and say, okay, this is Emma right here. I am Barbara and I am going to negotiate it for you. You become the advocate. You're not yourself, you're somebody else's, which makes it actually easier. It sounds crazy, but guess what? Crazy works great in that case. So what you're going to do is take all of your notes from those interviews. And you're going to go and said, okay, so this is your job description right here. That's what I did. I said, this is your job description. This is what I can bring to the table for you. And you are there and list the pain point and how can you help, support, and again, close the gap on those. This is the key. This is why I'm worth this amount of money because I can help you to do this, and that. So when you receive the offer, that comes a few days after, oh, we would like to offer you the job, blah, blah, blah. Then this is where you send an email and said to the hiring manager, hi, Bob, thank you very much for this. I would like to have a recap with you in regards of the job position and what I see. This is this is what I can do, but I'm looking at this amount. And you send it to them. Some people will sit on it for a week or two. And I know it's kind of scary because you're like, holy crap, I'm probably not going to hire me. Trust me. If you are a good fit for them, they will hire you without any issues. However, the hiring manager will go back to his boss and said, okay, It's not 50 grand. We need to put at least 65, minimum of 65. What can we do? So some people will be crunchy and say, well, no, we're not. I said, well, this is my argument for this, and this. And that person can do that. So maybe they're going to come and say, well, we can give you 65. However, some may come back and just say, well, you know what? We can start you at 55. And within 6 months, we can bump your salary. Then you said, okay, but I want this on contracts. Meaning, I want this in black and white on the contract saying that. I am not going in by your words. You want this on contracts, and they won't make it happen. So that is one thing, not being afraid of the salary and the negotiation. But you have to prove to them. That's the biggest part. You have to prove to them, how can you help them? Because if you don't, what would they help you? If help you to get where you need with your money wise, they're not. But if you show them and demonstrate, well, this is what I can do, this, and you, and this is what I can do, blah, blah, blah. I'm a problem solver. I can do this, I can do that. They will fight for you. Same when you're a contractor and they want to open a position because you're that good. They're going to say, I want to keep her, so I'm going to offer the job for her or for him. They will bend over and backwards to do that. But you have to show you are worth to be hired full time. But for the salary negotiation, you never talk money up front. And as I said, HR will automatically do that. They're like, yeah, so the salary is this. Are you okay with that? Uh-huh. So they check their little list. Okay, sure. She said yes. Uh-huh. I didn't say yes. I said, uh-huh. Sure. We're like, okay. Let's get this show on the road. Okay. So then the negotiation again will always be with the hiring manager, because that is their job. They will bend over, they will push, the VP will push. When you can show what you can do for them, then they will go to the next level. So again, when you're dealing with salary, be fair market value. Don't overprice yourself. I never price myself. I never overprice myself, even though I do have my black belt on Six Sigma, blah, 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 and I could charge 10 times more, but I don't. I'm doing the fair market, but I keep those certification, those diploma and everything I've got as a demonstration. And yes, I know what I'm doing. I know what I can do. I know how I can push people. I can push people. I can push to the next level of company. But the game is, can you negotiate your salary? Okay. So some assignment I will do it, and some I don't, because I know the state of a company. So if it's a brand new company, I'm not gonna go full price because this is a startup. But if it's a billion-dollar company, you get my regular price. There is no reason you don't. For people who come out of school and they have their diploma and they're expecting to make $200,000, well, you have to take a reality check and really understand that, you know what, if you're looking at a specific job as a manager, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Look again at the meridian and look at the bottom, not the top. Because you will not be on the top unless you're extra lucky and they know you and you've been an intern there, fine. But otherwise, it will not work that way. So you have to look at everything and start where you need to start. I know it sucks for some people because it's like, well, I spent so many years on a bench, and I got this and I got that. I'm like, yes, but it's a tool. Remember, what you got is a tool. It's in your little toolbox. You're going to be using it. Apply a few things in that you learned. And that's how you do, because you already got those little tools you're supposed to use. However, if you've never been an intern into a company and understand how a company works, then your tools will be useless if you cannot translate them into a daily work. So that's something people don't understand. Tools are great, but experience in the workforce will help you to gain that experience, quote unquote. You are going to utilize what you've got, what you learn, and you're going to adapt it, which is, it's hard for some people because some are very good with their textbook. They can go and they're that good, they're a student, whatever. But when it comes down to the workforce, they think that, oh, what's in the book, I'm going to apply it. No, those are examples. But most company, you cannot apply it. They will show you how to, but those examples, and I've seen it too many times, it's like trying to fit a square with a circle. It's like that doesn't fit. You should put a square to fit, like a little puzzle. If you get a puzzle and there is different shape, you're not going to match them at all. It has to fit. Same thing here. Those are tools that you need to succeed. It's part of your toolbox. That's what it is. So your salary should be normally negotiated on the second or the third. It depends if how you're being hired. But this is for full company. This is not for consulting company. Consulting company is different because you give your, again, pricing. And it depends on, do they have benefits? They don't have benefits. Are you a subcontractor? Are you on 1099 on W2? This is a different story for a different day. We're looking at being hired directly to a company permanently. You can be hired permanently to a company for a consulting company as well, but show the interest, because consulting company, when you do that, you for the veterans, we know that your skill sets are important. When you're green, then they're going to put you at the bottom of the ladder because you need to gain the experience. You can have the best diploma in the world. You need to gain the experience. So you will get the minimum for that specific bracket, for that specific job. This is what you have to expect. So I know people get pumped up and just like, oh my God, I got those diplomas, so I should be making this, and that. Yeah, but those people that reach those, one, they get their own business, which is feasible. Two, if you're blessed by the universe, you can make it. Yes, absolutely. However, for others, you're going to have to climb the ladder. You're going to have to do the work, and you're going to have to start at the bottom, which is a good thing, actually. You don't want to stop on the top and fall. You want to start at the bottom and climb. You learn more that way because a fall, it's a pass or break. Most of the time it breaks you, and then it's a hard one to go back up and understand everything. But think about it. Think about what you need and do your market fair value. Don't look at people and try to do research. Oh, I saw that person on TikTok, it makes that amount of money. Well, that's them. That's not you. Okay. And it is the jungle here. It is the university of life, meaning if you try to find something for fairness, you want a wonderful world for fairness, you got in the wrong universe here, because this is not the case. It is based on what we have to learn in the life lessons and how much hardship we're going to have to go through. And some people go and skate through life without a problem, which is good for them. And some will end up from day one into fight for their life, because that's the way it's supposed to be in their life. So we're never going to be equal. Something people need to understand, and I've saying that for years. Oh, we want to be equal. And I'm laughing. I'm like, well, if you want it to be equal, one will be born with the same father and mother, will be the same bank account for everybody, everybody will be equal. But that will never happen. I know utopia people want, we want everything, serve on a silver platter. This is not what it's all about here. It is not happening this way, because if it was the case, we'll all be in the same starting block and do the same thing. And I can guarantee we'll already check out, because I was like, not what I want to do here. Here, it's learning our life lessons. Here, it's starting where we need to be. And the life we got is all different. We be in parallel with some people, but our lives is completely different from one person to another. And we should not be looking at what others are doing either, because that's their lives, not yours. You're not in their shoes, you're in your own shoes. Learn from others, do your research, and complaining online will not help you, especially because people now, and hiring manager, and I don't care what company said, oh, we don't do it, this is bollocks. Because I spoke to a lot of hiring managers, and they are saying the same thing. They go to your social media. So if you're half drunk, if you're always complaining, they're not going to hire you, because you are a liability. You are not, and they don't want you as the face of the company, because every employee is the face of that company. People get fired left and right because somebody had a meltdown at McDonald's, blah, 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 that was recorded. They get fired. Even if they've been there for 20 years, it doesn't matter. So, be accountable for your action. If you're pissed, then go outside, scream outside where there's nobody, and you'll be fine. Don't record it. Don't be frustrated because you got diplomas. And we all went through that crapola. Most of us have done that, but we have not screamed. Well, we did probably scream at the owl at the moon for 5 minutes. But you know what? We're resilient people. Remember that. It doesn't matter how old we're all resilient. Don't expect something to be on your platter if you are expecting others to bow for you. That's not how it works. So in regards of your salary, focus on, if you're brand new, fresh off school, look at the meridian, look at the bottom, and find the skill set you can bring. Because even if you're green, you still have some skill set you can transfer and translate it to get a couple of dollars more. It's all about how to negotiate, and not said I'm entitled because I have a diploma. Because I will say to you, well, if you're entitled, then how you go, because I'm not hiring you. You're not flexible enough. You're not humble enough. You are going to be a problem because you're acting as a child. That's not what we're looking in a workforce. And it has changed. I came from an era, quote unquote, that sounds like a grandma. In the mid 90s, late 90s, the boys club. Manufacturing world was boys club. And I'm talking hardcore boys club, meaning female were not, some of the female that I knew was one, and she was a supply manager, and they put her in a corrugated boxes. Basically things that wasn't hardware, that wasn't plastic, that wasn't engines, nothing of that sort. That was their little thing to put somebody there. The rest were all male base. And my ego. Guess what Emma did when I went in there? I just kicked the hornet's nest because I was a consulting person. I just stood up and I did not took their crap, which pissed some of them off. And I was laughing because they went and complained to the director I was reporting. And I look at the director, I say, well, I'm speaking exactly the same way they're speaking to me. So guess what? If they don't like it, then don't talk to me this way. I was the one who ply open a bunch of stuff because it was the boys club. And I was the only female I was actually a consulting person who opened her mouth, and everybody respected me. Some people hated my guts because I was behind a lot of things that helped the company to improve, and they wanted the sun and they didn't get the sun at the end of the day. But I opened my mouth. I made changes that need to be done, and I walked away later on. But again, I didn't want to complain. I just took it and I was like, okay. And I'm not the only female who have done that. I'm not a feminist. I don't care about feminism. It doesn't do anything in this world, feminism. If you want to start the world to change the way you behave. Don't expect everything to land on your platter, but just go and get it. Be flexible. Learn to be creative. Think outside of the box. And it's the same thing with salary. There is no magic secret. And you don't open your mouth and say to everybody, I negotiated my salary and I got this, and that. Don't say that because that's nobody else's business. Whatever you get paid is whatever you get paid. The rest of the world doesn't need to know. But you can negotiate your salary. You can do your fair market value. It doesn't matter that you have the skill sets or you're brand new or not. You can start somewhere. So again, you have a choice. Or you get an attitude and just say, I'm cocky, I want this and that. Or you're smart enough to do your homework, your research, and learn to negotiate. It's not that difficult. It's a strategy that you can do at any given time. You have the capability. We all have it. So, all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. I have no idea what we're going to be talking on our next podcast. Who knows? I'm inspired today, so I might be recording another one today. Who knows? So, all my love, take care. Bye.